Hi Fox, how are you doing? Let us see an interesting game from the fifth round of this Tata tournament. We're seeing Boris Gelfand having a very tough tournament, a very difficult one. He seems to have lost confidence and he's in a bad shape. And here we're gonna see Wesley so taking advantage of this, playing an outbeaten line, nothing very theoretical, almost not very correct, but he finally outplays Gelfand. So let us see the game. Wesley has white pieces. He plays e4, c5, the usual response of Gelfand against d4, knight f3, knight c6, and now, of course, d4 and bishop b5, most common moves here, but Wesley plays knight c3. Nothing wrong with it. It's developing a piece, a knight to its probably best square, the c3 square, but not the most challenging way of playing against the Sicilian with knight c6. And probably the reason is this: now e5 is allowing black to consolidate the center, to control very well with this d4 square. Although white will have this d5 square available for him, but okay, this is more of a closed position than normal Sicilians with d4. And well, theoretically it is supposed to be not that challenging as other main moves. But okay, this is also a very playable way of playing against the Sicilian. So bishop c4 and bishop e7 here. Important not to play knight f6 here, because now knight g5, attacking with this basic threat always in these Italian games. And now black has to play something like d5, it takes d5, and this is having played the two nice defense against bishop c4, the Italian, but having played a c5, which is like a waste of time here, basically. So this is bad for black clearly. So bishop e7 just stops white from playing knight g5. Now d3, knight f6, and here knight d2. Strange looking move, and developing a piece to block the bishop, but has some ideas to relocate the knight basically to a better square, taking into account the pawn structure that has arrived from the opening. So not really recommendable to do this at home if you're not a title player, but okay, it's an idea, it's a plan. Strange one, sure, but it's a plan. Now d6 and now knight f1. The idea is to go probably to e3 to control some light squares. The position is close, so black can't take advantage of the underdevelopment of white so far, but once again, don't try this at home. This might be very dangerous. Bishop g4, black can play this kind of moves. He has lots of development, and here, according to my database, f3 has been played 2043 times. But so goes with an even stranger looking move. He plays queen d2, getting away from the attack and blocking his bishop now with the queen. And okay, knight d7, probably with the idea to attack this bishop, which looks good, which looks to be a good piece. But okay, that allows white to play knight d5. Now the d5 square has no defense, so knight d5 seems okay. White. There's another move. I would play it probably knight d3, just for once developing that bishop and getting chasing away the bishop. Developing the knight, chasing away the bishop. Sorry. So for instance, bishop e6, castle, and now a4 seems good, because now if knight a5, white could retreat, and it also grabs some space on the queen side. And white could have ideas of a4, for instance, and this seems basically a typical game in the gioco piano, in the Italian slow lines. A roughly equal game, I guess. But okay, knight d5 seems also a good move. Castle, now c3, controlling a couple of very important squares before d4. The knight now on c6, for instance, can't go to d4, which would be okay. And okay, white is quite underdeveloped, but as the position is more or less closed, black still cannot take advantage of it. Black is, of course, is okay, has no problems, but white is just messing around to see what he can force black into doing, and see if he can manage to force black into some mistake, which in fact will happen in the game. Bishop e6, queen c2. Once again, I think there is nothing bad about knight f3, fe3. Maybe bishop g5 could be a little bit unpleasant, but after castling, the queen can go to either e2 or c2, and the knight is still defended. So once again, nothing bad for this. It's just a matter of a taste, I think. Queen c2, knight b6, and the knight takes on b6, a takes b6, and a4. Now Wesley will try to play against some weaknesses that black has created on the queen side, although they are not a great deal so far. Now b5 square could be weak, the b6 pawn, etc. But okay, he could have a little bit of activity there, so a4 is kind of fixing that b5 square. King h8 is a prophylactic move. We also already saw that this kind of move in the game Gelfand lost against Rapport. He played king h1, where when it didn't seem to be necessary. I tend to agree at that point, and here as well. I don't think it's necessary to play this move, but okay, it's a move. I think it was interesting to play d5, as the engine says this is okay because you're breaking already in the center, having a complete development. So takes, knight e3, bishop e6, and black looks okay. Really, there is nothing great that white can do so far. But okay, king h8 now, and bishop d2, just keeping the e3 square available for the knight. Really slow play by white, but slow and sure. There is nothing he's risking too much. Queen d7, rook d1, a very provocative game. He's keeping his king side just completely paralyzed. The knight on f1 looking very strange. He can't castle. But okay, keeping the knight on f1 could be its advantages. Just the light squares could, whenever it jumps there, the light squares could be available for it to create something. So okay, it's a strategy to move this kind of moves. And now finally d5 is played here, just going through the center. Now black has a complete development. There is no reason to not do this. Well, there was another interesting move here with some interesting lines. f5. Now e takes, rook takes is a move, and now if bishop takes, queen takes, the point is that then the king in the center is going to be an issue for white. And now, for instance, knight e3 seems natural, attacking the rook. And there we go, an interesting move here, knight d4, attacking the queen, and more or less forcing white into taking this sacrifice, temporary sacrifice. C take, the point is that after e takes, the knight is pinned, so the black pawn on d4 is going to capture the knight back. Now capture, bishop takes, and okay, black can't be bad here. So he has a rook on fifth, which could be useful. Then he could double rooks. His bishop could be activated via f6. I mean, this pawn is isolated on d3, although he also has a couple of potentially weak pawns. But black shouldn't have problems here, much problems. But anyway, d5 also looks correct to get through the center if you are allowed to, if you have complete development. Takes. Now finally knight e3. We see this knight emerging from the back rank finally to play bishop e6, and here a very sharp move by Wesley, so just challenging black into thinking and calculating. Queen b3. Now there are some tactics here, and Gelfand just goes through it. Queen takes d3 is the main move, the critical. Now of course taking on d3, bishop takes b3, and black has won a pawn, and he's going to win, it seems, another one, and this seems really bad for white. He's better down a pawn, he's going to be down, it seems, another one, and his pieces doesn't seem to be the greatest on this world. So bishop takes e6 seems to be the move. F takes e6, and now taking the correct pawn, queen takes b6. The e6 pawn is not going anywhere, it's blocked, it's doubled, they're isolated on the e-file. So well, this is seems correct. Better to take that b6 pawn. The queen now is quite active on the queen side. The only problem of white is that the queen on d3, the black queen on d3, doesn't allow him to castle right away. Otherwise, he would be in a very good position. So here probably Gelfand loses the track a little with some of the next moves, and that's why he's going to lose the game quite fast in nine moves from here. Queen e4. The computer suggests to play rook fb8, just protecting everything, and really doesn't seem what is white going to doesn't seem easy to play with white. I mean, you may have a little bit of pressure on the queen side of the queen, but how are you going to attack? There is nothing great you can do. You can't castle. The rooks are not playing, so it isn't clear what white should do. But queen e4, now b3, consolidating the pawn on a4, and now he could castle. The queen is not guarding the f1 square anymore. Now rook ab8 was played, but this seems to be very passive. Instead, for instance, c4 is a sacrifice of an interesting pawn sacrifice is proposed by the computers. Here takes, and rook takes a4. Now queen takes b7, for instance, and after rook a2, now keeping an eye on the bishop, going into the second rank. Queen b3, rook fa8, and well, black has some compensation. He's got a couple of nice looking rooks on this a file. White has a couple of isolated and doubled pawn here. Well, he has them as well, but okay, white king is still in the center, and it seems that black has more or less some compensation here. Not clear if to have the game under control yet, but not a bad position for black. Instead, rook ab8 seems to be too passive. Now white finally castles, and white has the initiative. I mean, black there cannot do anything really great, and he's just have to sit and wait to what is white going to do. Queen g6 once again. The idea is to go to queen e8 and relocate to the back rank, protect weaknesses. But it seems better to play in this move order rook fd8, because now a5. The idea is to go a6 and weaken this knight, weaken this pawn here. Now queen g6, and after e6, of course, threatening to take and take the knight. The point is that now you can play queen e8, defend the knight, and the rook is not on f8, it's on d8, on an open file, on a central file, which seems to be much more active than being on the f file. So queen g6 was played here right away, and now a5 is the idea, to just go through this with this a pawn and create lots of problems here. Rook fc8 doesn't seem to be the best move, really. Not that easy to suggest moves for black. It seems that queen e8 once again was good, but okay, black has already not an unpleasant position. He hasn't have counterplay, he hasn't have anything active, and he just has to sit and wait. So rook fc8, now knight c4 is played, the weakness on c5 is fixed, and then now the knight is quite active there, hitting lots of nice dark squares. Queen c2 was played here, and now it's going to be harassed a little bit. Rook c1, queen d3, bishop e3. Black just doesn't have a plan, and white is slowly but steadily improving his pieces, attacking weaknesses he has created in the black's pieces. So, for instance, the knight is blocking the c5 pawn, which is now attacked by two pieces, and this is really unpleasant to play here with black. I mean, it doesn't seem to be that bad because the position, the material is equal, etc. But you may say it's okay, but black's positions are not coordinated well. They are very passive, kind of cramped, and white is steadily and slowly improving his pieces, and this is just a kind of a torture. h6 played here, really not sure why, just to create room for the king, protect g5, stop some threats, maybe some ideas of bishop g5. We're not really sure if it's going to be worth it, bishop g5, etc. But okay, it's an idea. So rook fd1, activating the other rook, queen f5. Now the rook goes into the 7th rank, rook d7, attacking b7, etc. The rook goes to f8, mm, probably with the idea, as I said, to play bishop g5, just to weaken this f2 pawn, try to attack something here. But after rook f1, just securing everything, it seems that I mean, black isn't losing anything so far. But Gelfand just resigned the game. 29 moves yet. Only 29 moves have been played, but black has lots of weaknesses, and he's not just able to defend almost any of them. I mean, c5 is hanging, b7 is hanging. The idea is to play a6, and the 6/6 knight would be more or less hanging. So, what to do here with black? It is very difficult to play. So, Gelfand, who is having a very tough tournament, just a pity because he's a very high class, solid and classic player. He's just having an awful tournament, so he resigned here. Well, great game from Wesley So, the genius from the Philippines. He just outplayed Gelfand with slow and strange-looking moves, a weird choice of opening. So great tournament so far. For him, he has some really nice games, and he's in the high part of the tournament table. So nothing else for today. Thanks for watching, and hope you liked the video.